And welcome back to the OHIO podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Buckeye Boggs. That man over there is the wild man, Chris Wilds, and we're doing a special Monday evening recording as of January 8th, 2024. The news came down today, Chris, of the first assistant coach to get the old snip, snip, you're out of here. No contract renewal was announced today for safeties coach Perry Eliano. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little surprised by this, especially since given who wasn't announced as not getting renewed or returning for 2024. But
Yet.
that yet. But that being said, Chris, I'll turn it over to you. Your 2 cents. Give us your feelings.
Well, I think I was surprised that he was the first to go, but not necessarily surprised that he did go. Let's face it, Perry Eliano and the safeties in 2022 were probably one of the weakest points on the team. Much improved this season.
Absolutely.
However, if you look overall, the recruiting, the guy could not even bring in his own cousin in KJ Bolden. Uh, we had a 4-star and a 3-star come in this season. Um, and I feel the recruiting wasn't 100% there. I think that there was some questions about maybe the continuity. I feel that maybe we looked at Perry Eliano and the safeties and thought how improved they were, but maybe it was just talent winning out over technique in a sense, here. Maybe it's not what Perry Eliano did just as much as the maturation and growth of the players themselves and their given talent. And I look at this and I'm not real upset about this move, Eric. And let me tell you why.
Hmm.
I feel like this is an opportunity. I think that Tim Walton is a tremendous coach. I think that he does great in recruiting. I think he does great with our defensive backs. And I feel like even though they say that there is an ongoing search for another safeties coach, I feel like this is a position that honestly, Tim Walton could handle all the defensive backs. And that move could free up a spot on this coaching staff for one James Laurinaitis to be brought on as a full time assistant coach.
What a rush.
Right? Except that was Hawks' tagline. It wasn't Animals.
Legion of Doom. What was Animals?
Animals' tagline was "Tell it to him, Hawk."
And he would say at the end, what a rush, right?
Yeah. But, well, that was Hawks' tagline. But you know what? I just feel like the time has come to get James Laurinaitis on this coaching staff in a full time capacity. The
Yes.
guy has tremendous ability on the field. He's got tremendous ability as a coach. I have no doubt, and I think he's going to do tremendous as a recruiter. This is a guy who I think, when it comes time to recruit, he can do it for the linebacking room what Brian Hartline has done for our receiving room. I
I
really
actually
think he may even be able to do better,
I
and that's
act
what's
well,
scary.
I actually made the comment that he's turning into the defensive Brian Hartline on this staff. Now, I agree with you. I also think that Ryan Day and Jim Knowles will get him the staff he needs for the secondary to run the whole thing.
Yes.
And we don't know. Maybe that's what he wants to do. Maybe he doesn't. We don't know yet. But I agree with you that this opens up a spot for James Laurinaitis to be the full-time linebackers coach and get out there and start recruiting. Because that is definitely the area that Eliano struggled with the most, in my opinion.
When you
Um,
can't bring your own cousin into the team, Eric, there's a problem.
that hurt. That didn't help. Absolutely, that didn't help. So I was a little surprised, but at the same time, I went, okay. Now, why this move? Well, let me say this before we move over to the other side of the coaching staff here. I want your opinion. Was this Ryan Day's call, Jim Knowles' call, or both of them?
I'm going to say that this was I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say it was both of them, but heavily influenced by Jim Knowles.
Now, see, I was going to say the same thing, but flip it around. I'm not so sure it wasn't heavily influenced by Ryan Day.
I
Ryan
would
Day
like to
made it.
think it was.
Let me give you some confidence of why I think it is.
Okay,
Do
please.
you, After the Cotton Bowl, Ryan Day said every position on this staff is going to be reevaluated.
Yes.
That included Eliano. And even though we all thought, he'll probably be back because of how well they played, you and I both know that it's not just production on the field, it's future production on the field, which is all based on not only player development, but also
Recruiting.
recruiting. And so Ryan Day has got as much as we have slammed him for going 0-3 against that team up north in the past 3 seasons, losing to Alabama national championship, losing to Georgia 2 years ago, losing to Missouri this year. The dude is still kicking butt recruiting. Still. I know you're going to want to try to disagree with me, but those numbers don't lie,
I would say
Chris.
his assistants are still kicking butt recruiting.
I'm okay. I agree, but at the same token, Ryan Day is still the closer. Ryan Day is still the closer. Every one of those parents, when it's all said and done, parents of those kids, do they talk about the position coaches? Yes, they do. But boy, those moms like to talk about Ryan Day, and those dads like to talk about Ryan Day and who he is as a person. And you have to admit, since Ryan Day has taken over this program, there has not been a lot of negative press about the players outside of the Woody Hayes Athletic Center.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that 100%. Eric, at no point did I ever say that Ryan Day is not a great guy,
Right, I
that
know
he
you
is
didn't,
not a
but
positive influence on these
my
guys.
right, but let me get my point out. My point is this: Ryan Day still hits in recruiting, and that's a part of it. That is a part of it. When you send your child to me, you can trust that I am giving him not only the skills to be successful on the field, but also the skills to be successful off of it as well. And people talk about that. He's still got some chops as a recruiter. That's why I'm thinking maybe Ryan Day looked at this and said, Eliano, thanks, but I don't think I'm going to be renewing you. Laurinaitis, you're up. You're in.
And I do think that that's definitely in my mind that's definitely in the works. I'm going to say something here. It's not going to be very popular, though, Eric. And it's if it was Ryan Day's decision,
Mm-hmm.
it's the first time in 3 years we've seen him show any stones.
I'm tr- I'm that my hesitation is because I'm looking at the timeline and I think you're right. Because before 2021, he showed some stones in
Yeah,
2019, 2020. So I think you're right with that in the timeline. All right,
and I hope
let's
you're right, though. I do. I hope it's the turnaround that we need, the beginning
which
of the turnarounds we
yeah,
need.
which would be interesting to me that it was
And
there. It started there.
how much do you think it could have been also influenced by those boosters who have been on Ryan Day's case when you talk about the recruiting?
Well, possibly, yeah, but at the same point, again, why start there when you have all of these guys on the offensive side that are like, huh? Here's why. Ryan Day is going to hire a play caller. That is
He
the
has to.
rumor. That is the rumor. I really think that Coach Drinkwitz, his comment before the Cotton Bowl about doing a disservice to his program by not being the head coach and trying to be the offensive coordinator and play caller, resonated with Ryan Day.
I don't know
I
if it
have
resonated with him, but he called out Ryan Day in all intents and purposes right there in front of a national audience.
I don't know if that necessarily was the intent.
Whether it was the
However,
intent or not, it's what he did.
they are, I won't say they're buds. They are acquaintances who've come up in the coaching ranks together, who don't talk negatively about each other. They've always talked positively about each other. I can't help but feel that that was Drickwitz's nudge, nudge, wink, wink to Ryan. And I hope that Ryan Day took that to heart. Now, like I mentioned Sunday night, last night in the live show, I don't know that it is going to be a play caller. If it's not, it's going to be at least somebody who he trusts to be his eyes in the sky. But let's let this play out. But here's my what I'm hearing. The reason why it was Eliano first is this is the one defensive move they're making. This
Yeah,
is it.
I can
Everybody else
see
is
that.
staying. Larry's staying.
Larry's
Knowles is
staying until he
staying.
wants to leave. Let's call it what it is.
Pretty much, yes. Yeah. Uh, so the defensive staff is good.
Yeah.
On the other side, though, the reason why you haven't heard or seen uh, Corey Dennis, Parker Fleming, Justin Fry's names yet is because whoever this person hires, Ryan is going to give them the autonomy to hire who he wants for the offensive staff, minus one guy. Brian Hartline stays. You have to keep Brian Hartline. That's what I'm hearing, which means you have Corey Dennis as the quarterback's coach. You have Justin Fry as the offensive line coach. You have Parker Fleming as special teams coach.
Tony Alford.
Tony Alford as the running backs coach. Thank you.
Boy,
All four.
I'd have a hard time getting rid of Tony Alford, though.
I would too, but I'm just saying if that is a part of the deal, that's part of the getting a big name guy to come in to be the offensive head coach. Just like Jim Knowles is the defensive head coach, and you're going to pay him $2 million, and you're going to have two $2 million coordinators going here. Part of that deal is to say you get to hire your own staff.
Here's the thing with that, Eric. If that move happens, I say we've got 2 years or less of Brian Hartline left. He will move on to a program where he can become a true offensive coordinator.
Let me push back. He loves Ohio State. He's got a young family.
He
They're
does.
they're growing up in Central Ohio. He played at Ohio State.
He
These are
doesn't need the
all.
money.
He doesn't need the money. He's a multimillionaire from the NFL. Okay. Now I'm not saying he has 100 million in the bank, but he's got tens of millions in the bank.
But he's also a competitor with a lot of pride.
He is, and I don't. Okay, if he leaves, it's not going to be for another college job. I just don't. He'll be in the NFL. He's talked about how much he loves the NFL, how he runs his program like it's an NFL program, all of those things. It would be for a wide receivers coach in the NFL or an offensive coordinator's job in the NFL. And you and I both know he's got no play calling yet. So the NFL is not going to turn the reins over to him to be a play caller. And I can't see him doing a lateral move from Ohio State to the NFL to be a wide receivers coach when you're going to make more at Ohio State as a wide receivers coach than you will the NFL. I think he's here. And I think that reassurance from Ryan Day that I'm bringing in someone to call plays to basically train you because I can't
But
do it.
but here's the thing, and that's the problem. That's the problem there in and of itself is Ryan Day, when he was an offensive coordinator, I will give you this, he was one hell of an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But why couldn't he pass that knowledge on to Brian Hartline?
I think the game
He
moves too
failed Brian Hartline from that standpoint.
I think the game moves too fast to wear all those hats at once. I think they maybe tried early on, as we learned from JR yesterday. Brian Hartline called plays at the end of the Indiana game. I think they tried early on and they realized this isn't going to work. And so let's go back to what is familiar for the sake of the team and winning football games.
So it was the whole Devin Brown thing all over, except on the coaching staff. We tried him out for 2 series. When it didn't work out, we said, okay, let's bury him on the bench, keep McCord in there, and you know what? Come bowl game, what happened?
Maybe,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a fail of preparation.
maybe. I'm not going to disagree that with that analogy, but I'm just telling you straight up, Brian Hartline ain't going anywhere. and the
I don't know.
rest of the offense, he's not getting fired. I'll put it to you that way.
Now that I
Okay.
would agree with. That I would agree with.
If he leaves, he's leaving for a bigger job. And again, you tell me where you're going to make $1 million as a wide receivers coach.
Well, I'm not talking about receivers coach. You don't think there'd be an opportunity for if something happened at Wisconsin and Fick picked up the phone, or if something happened at Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman says, you know what, I want to give you a shot. You don't think he might not take those, because those coaching jobs can come up with the
not
Ohio State money.
not at Notre Dame because Notre Dame just got their new offensive coordinator.
Well, right, but I'm saying a year, 2 years down the road, something happens, they move on.
Let's see who they hire first. Before we react to that, let's see if they go out there and they get a young guy, then I'm going to be like, "Oh, there's a potential there." They go out and they get an old wise veteran. It's going to be like 2 years and I'm out and this is your baby. Then I see the 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 plan to hand the baton off.
And if that's the case, one name just comes to mind repeatedly, and that's Dan Mullen.
He's not. I don't know if he's old enough. And from what I'm hearing, Ryan Day and Dan
Ryan Day does
Mullen
not
are.
like him.
That's what I'm hearing.
And that's
Um,
something, because I don't think Ryan Day has it in him to dislike anybody.
it's too bad UCLA didn't decide to fire Chip Kelly. That would be the one because you got the connection to Ryan Day. He could be the eyes in the sky, all that knowledge. He was very innovative with the offense. He probably speaks the same language as Ryan Day as far as plays and verbiage is concerned. But I digress. That's not who it's going to be. I've seen some wild names out there people are throwing out. I just don't. It's probably someone that we haven't thought of, to be honest with you. Um, I feel. Let's give a percentage on three guys, okay? And in closing
Okay,
here, Parker Fleming. I'm at 99.9%. I'm going to be downright mad if he's still here on the staff.
102%. There's no way that guy's staying. He's
What
out.
if he does?
If he does, then Ryan Day should be fired right now.
I just don't get that one.
You don't
Cor-
keep dead weight like that around on the staff, taking up payroll and a spot from a guy who could actually be producing.
Corey Dennis, I'm at about 80%.
I'm thinking about 85.
Okay. Justin Fry, I'm at 50-50. Here's why.
I'm a little
Good
higher than that, but
good friends with Ryan Day. Um
and that meant
again,
so much as we were getting slaughtered in the Rose Bowl or in the Cotton
which
Bowl.
it did, didn't it? I don't know. I think there's a 50% chance he's back. We did see the offensive line progress a little bit this year up until we got to the bowl game. And then here's the other thing. What you bring in an offensive lineman out of the portal, you think he strictly wasn't talking, you think he was strictly talking to Ryan Day? He wasn't talking to Justin Fry?
You could be right, Eric. You could be right. Most likely
Now,
you are.
now
But
again, people might say, well, what about the quarterback, Corey Dennis? You and I both know Corey Dennis is not the quarterback's coach. He never was.
no.
Never was. All right. I say
And
50%. Where are you at with Justin Fry?
I think it's 65. I don't think, again, and I think this is pressure from the boosters. These people are not going to sit back and watch another year of mediocrity on that offensive line. And these are the guys who are signing the checks. They're just not going to tolerate it. And if Ryan Day doesn't make the moves that need to be made, we're going to be having this conversation next year at this time about who's replacing Ryan Day.
I agree. I agree. Like, share, subscribe. It really does help the channel. We really do appreciate it. Ring the bell so you get notified every time that we go live or a new video drops. We are so close to 1,000 subscriptions. Man, I can almost taste it. Please
But
help us
not
out if
close
you.
enough, Eric. Not close enough.
Yeah, don't hesitate, man. Subscribe to the channel. We go live every Sunday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. Big guest coming this Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. You're not going to want to miss it. Chris, who's coming on the podcast this Sunday night?
Boy, and you said it right, man. This guy is a big guest, both both in stature and in reputation. And we've got Master Teague, the
That's right.
2020 starting running back, coming on. So
Yep.
really excited to have Master on the program here.
Absolutely. Master Teague's going to be on this Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. Do not miss it. Make sure you tune in live. We have these beanies for sale, $20 free shipping,
That's a good looking
$20
hat,
free.
Eric.
It feels good. These things are warm. I'm like, man, I'm sweating, and I'm in the studio, which is normally chillier in this time of year, and this thing is warm as could be. So liking my new
We
threads.
need to send one to Aaron to cut the glare down.
He's not here to defend himself. That's not
I
nice,
know.
Chris. That's not
Yeah,
nice.
he's cast a few stones with me gone. Come on.
This is the little message that we have going back where he every now and then slides your old picture in.
My
It
picture in there, yeah.
cracks me up
And he
every
chooses the
time.
one where I was 100 pounds heavier, too, by the way. I like that.
Oh, there you go. Just selective, selective choosing there from a Sergeant MVP. We'll be back with more videos this week. Tune in every single day. Check it out. Again, don't have to worry about doing that if you just subscribe. So get that taken care of. All right, guys. Be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen Ohio with all your heart. Till next time. OH.
IO.